An authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is your Sunday social, and of course, it is a huge day for England fans. Time for Luke Shaw and Kobbie Mainoo to make history with our country and win an international trophy for the first time in 58 years. Hopefully, at least. We're going to discuss Mainoo's breakout season, what he's achieved so far and what he could potentially go on to achieve, what's in future for Luke Shaw this season, plus Sir Jim Ratcliffe's personal message to him. Tyrell Malacia is back in training. United have put an offer in for a Turkish left-back, and we're going to do a little bit of a pre-season review towards the end as well. So, yeah, do get involved in the comments as always. Let us know your thoughts and feelings. Smash a like on the video if you think England are going to win the Euros. And, yeah, we shall dive right into this. Sam, Kobbie Mainoo, right. We discussed him in bits yesterday. We just put a clip up on the Instagram and TikTok. And YouTube for that matter, discussing him, how he's done at the Euros and stuff. But if we actually take it back to pre-season when he picked up that big injury, was it like the first couple of minutes against Real Madrid?
Yeah.
From what I can remember.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was out for months. On the 8th of November, this kid was playing against Copenhagen under-19s, I believe. And then since then, made his first team debut, scored his first senior goal. His first few starts, we all remember Everton, Galatasaray, all that kind of stuff. Has it surprised you how, one, mesmeric his rise has been, and two, what were your expectations prior to him? When he first came into the team, what did you think?
I didn't know much about the kid before he came in all honesty.
Yeah.
I think we were hearing a lot about other more prominent youth players. We were hearing about Shota Tere, we were hearing about Zidane Iqbal, we were hearing about Charlie Savage, Charlie McNeil. Those were the guys that were coming through, and people were like, yeah, these are the guys to look out for. I know JV mentioned, what's the fucking striker they're called that he likes?
Hugo.
Yes. Joe Hugo. So they were the guys being mentioned. I didn't really hear Kobbie Mainoo being mentioned that much. He was in the under-16s and he got promoted to the under-19s, didn't he? While he was in the under-16s, so his rise has been quite quick. And then I think on Paddock, there's a guy called Dave Pritt who does academy watches and stuff, and he was mentioning him. I was like, all right, okay. And then the first time I saw him was at that cup final, the Carabao Cup, and Ten Hag was talking to him, and then we looked. There was a couple of other content creators who were mentioning who he was. I was like, oh, that's interesting that he's put his arm around him, indicated he's the next guy. And then yeah, saw him against Arsenal and he outclassed Declan Rice. Like, he looked better than Declan Rice. And I was like, which one's the £100 million player here? And he looked better. And I thought, we've got something here. And then obviously, unfortunately, got injured against Real Madrid. But I think that was enough to me to go, I think this player's a serious, serious talent. And then obviously it took to like November before we got to see him again, didn't it?
Yeah, we've had almost multiple things where he's announced himself. So really now to the wide public eye and internationals, and obviously because a lot of the England fans are made up of fans from like League 1, 2, 3. It's like MK Dons fans. It's some of them probably may have not known a lot about him. So he's really announced himself on like the national stage at the moment. But through from last season, he's had steps, like micro steps, where he's really stood up. So, like, the goal against Wolves was the first big one, where you're like, oh, well, you kind of take aback by it a little bit. You're like, okay, this kid's cooking. Like, just, skin 3 players, bottom right corner, 94th minute, goes and wins the game. You're like, all right, maybe he could have something. And then you look at, like, the FA Cup, the goal against Liverpool as well, his goal in the FA Cup final, and he's just building and building his reputation. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And usually it takes younger players years to develop this reputation. But he's almost had, like, a crash course of, I want to say, like, 7 months to get to, like, not the top of world football, but, he don't look out of place alongside Bellingham and Declan Rice, who are both £100 million players. So my question to you is, Sam, if he wins the Euros tonight with England and he scores in that game, should he get a statue at the age of 19 years old?
I mean, he should get a statue for the FA Cup final goal. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think he gets one for that. I think as well, the thing that you see from a lot of young players is they'll have like ups and downs. Like, they'll have like peaks where they look absolutely phenomenal, and they'll have a few games where they sort of not quite there and things are not quite happening. We've seen it with Garnacho. he's had ups and downs during the season. Like had moments where he's been phenomenal, and other games where you like his decision making is questionable, and you want a bit more from him. And we've seen that from Rashford, inconsistent season to season. Like we've seen that. Now, obviously, we've only got one season to base Kobbie Mainoo's off, but I don't remember him having a game where he wasn't effective, wasn't doing something that impressed me, wasn't absolutely essential to the way we played or anything. I don't remember him having a game like that. Every game he's done something where I've been like, that's class. That I really like that. Oh, that's really impressive. Or then he's even done even better. Like he's done like they said the goal against Wolves, the goal against City in the FA Cup final. He's done stuff like that where you're like, this kid is something special. So I've not seen him have a terrible game. He's had some less than excellent games where he's been like a 6 out of 10, but he's not had any 4 out of 10s or 3 out of 10s where you've been like, this guy's been shocking. Whereas we've seen Rashford do that. We've seen Garnacho have that. Hoyland, we've seen that where he's had a shit game. Camwala even had a shit game as well against Bournemouth. So we've seen that. I've not seen him have a shit game for us. I've not seen him have a shit game for England, even though certain journalists are trying to tear him down and claim it's his fault when he's just like, it's mental. So yeah, that impresses me. The fact that his consistency is so high and he just doesn't seem phased by it. That's also equally impressive, if not more impressive.
And we were describing him as again, we always use this analogy, but we were describing him as the man on the Titanic with a violin. When he's just utter chaos around him, he's the only one who manages to maintain composure and be effective in this, especially in the United system last year, where the midfield was so open, he had so much ground to cover, and there was questions from journalists and fans and like left, right, and centre about how Ten Hag was setting up, and he still managed to remain, almost the main man in that midfield. I remember seeing at a point where I seen pictures of Casemiro like losing his head and Kobbie's just like, calming down. It's the same thing with the Euros, Declan Rice like kind of losing his head. Mainoo's just like, don't worry, look, chilled, relaxed.
Also, look at the people who are singing his praises. Clarence Seedorf. Now, if you're a bit younger in the chat and you don't know who Clarence Seedorf is, probably one of the best midfielders of his generation. And he's played for every club. I think he's the only player to win the Champions League with 3 different clubs.
5. He's won it 5 times, but with 3 different clubs. I think.
So, and he is. I know a lot of people talk about Zidane and they talk about Pirlo, who again fantastic players, but Seedorf is in that elite bracket. He's fucking phenomenal player. Like he's one of my favorite players like during that era. He said at 19 he's got all the qualities that he had, but he's put it together way better than he had at 19. It's Clarence Seedorf, by the way. Wayne Rooney, one of the best players of his English players of his generation, has said he's going to be a world-class player. Declan Rice, who cost 100 million and he's playing next to him, has said this kid is unbelievable. Like he said, he's took to it like a duck to water. Like it's ridiculous how good he is and how intelligent he is on the ball. These are like this is not like us who never played the game, don't know much about it, praising him. This is top players. Some who are still playing, some who have achieved everything and done everything there is in the game, and some who are untouchable in terms of like what they've achieved. So that's the praise he's getting. You've got to sit up and listen to that. Like this is not some just like pundits or commentators going, "Oh, he's excellent. He's look at this." This is top world class players saying he's got something, and you've got to sit up and listen to that.
We had Paul Scholes as well, didn't we? Put on that he's like he put something like, I'm sure it was, he can do everything I can do. And I was nowhere near at his level at the age he's at 19. I think Fabregas mentioned a couple of things about him as well. Like when you start, like you said, when you start picking up the kind of comments like that from world-class players who've been the very best in that position, it speaks volumes to where he's at. And I just love how calm he can stay amongst it all, because you could very easily lose yourself as at that age with the people that are praising you and get ahead of yourself a little bit too much. I mean, there was questions of arrogance on Bellingham's behalf in certain occasions and things, and Bellingham's a top player himself, but I don't know, man. I just, do you think some pundits are like, let's say like Gary Neville, for example, or Roy Keane, are a little bit cautious to praise him too much in case that does happen? Maybe they don't want to set expectations too high, because he is still only 19. I know he's incredible, but you do need to kind of limit it a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I think you started to see a bit of backlash towards Jude Bellingham lately, haven't you? Because he's super confident. I don't know if I describe him as arrogant, but I've seen some people describe him as arrogant, like his personality and the way he presents himself. I think it's just extreme confidence in his own abilities, and he's backing it up. To be fair, like he's won the Champions League, he's won La Liga, and he's 20, and he's in a final with the Euros. So, and he's scored an important goal as well. So he's backing himself, which I get. And then some people, maybe it's like racism that comes into it. A black player being confident and overconfident, and people think, oh, they're a bit arrogant. I don't buy into that, but I see a little bit of backlash towards him for that. But I think, yeah, that's probably going to help Kobbie because he's not that personality. He's that guy who's just chill and he's like, I just get on with it and just see what happens. So I think Gary Neville and Roy Keane are particularly aware themselves because they came to United. Obviously, Gary came at the class of 92 and Roy came. I don't know how old Roy was when he came.
He was young.
It was early 20s. Yeah.
Yeah.
They know what it's like to come into a top club at United at a young age and be surrounded by players and have to stand out. Roy Keane did it. Gary Neville did it. Despite what Gary Neville says about his own career, which really annoys me, he downplays his career so much. But it's just, but that's the topic for another thing. But we know how good Roy Keane is. So I think you're right. They're trying to not put too much expectation on pressure him because then the media will come for him if he has a bad game or he has an off day. But I don't think he'd be bothered, Kobbie. I don't think it doesn't look like it bothers him. Anything bothers him. So I think they could slag him off all he wants and he'd just be like, nah. So I think he'll be all right either way.
I think what you see with younger players as well is you have that first breakout season, and then it's almost like, if you had a really successful first album and you've got to make a second one, it's hard to top how well he did. So the expectations are there now, especially if he goes on to win the Euros, an FA Cup and a Euros in your first senior season. Yeah. When you go into your next one now, if he does anything less, I think people are just going to be quick to criticise him straight away and say like, "Oh, he's not fulfilling the potential we all thought he had." Yeah. I guarantee that happens with him.
Oh yeah,
he'll have journalists coming after him. The people will try to bring him down. But if he's 19 now, at the age of 28, I would be fully confident in saying he can turn out to be one of the best players on the planet. Genuinely believe that.
If he continues on the trajectory he's on, and his trajectory is pretty steep at the minute, United will obviously have like lesser seasons. He might have a lesser season. He might have an injury somewhere, or there might be things happening where he doesn't quite hit heights that you expect him. But I think overall his career will be one that is filled with trophies, achievements, and being lauded as a fantastic player. And I hope that for him. Like I really do hope he becomes in the same sort of bracket as a Paul Scholes, as a Roy Keane, as that kind of elite midfielder. I hope that happens for him, and I hope it happens at United as well. Like I hope with this Ineos revolution, people coming in, transfer, I hope we start building. So in 3-4 years, when Kobbie's 23, 24, about to hit his prime, he's surrounded by world-class players and we're ready to challenge for a title and he gets to lift the Premier League, he gets to lift the Champions League. I hope that happens because how good would that be, man? Like, he was started when we were at the bottom of the fucking bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's come with us on this journey and we'll lift the title. Like, he could he could even be captain material at some point. Yeah. Like, 3-4 seasons, Bruno would be, 34, 35?
Yeah.
Maybe not be at United anymore or might be on the decline. You look at players that we've got. Obviously, Lisandro is a leader. You've got Onana, I think, is a very good leader. Shaw, we don't know what's going to happen with him. Injuries are they going to kill him off, but he's a decent leader. I reckon Kobbie Mainoo, with that calm, chill demeanour when nothing phases him, I think he could be a captain, like a different sort of captain to Roy Keane, but like I think he's got captain material.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to. You have different prototypes captains, don't you? Cantona wasn't necessarily like Roy Keane. He'd show it on the pitch. I think Mainoo would do that, and I think when you look to your captain, the thing that you want is composure. And he's probably the most composed player ever to ever exist, ever. So, yeah, I'd agree with that comment. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, let's say the age with Luke Shaw, he's got a slightly different future ahead of him to Kobbie Mainoo. Obviously, the Kobbie Mainoo's got the world at his feet. With Shaw, obviously, he had a season riddled with injury last year. Only played 12 games in the league. He's only played 87 minutes in the Euros, despite being there from the start. He's missed equivalent to 2 seasons out of the past 3 years. Obviously the question's always been, can he stay fit this season? You know, if not, is there going to be another bad situation at left back? And then you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe doing the video saying, don't pull your hamstring again. It really is. I know we discussed it in depth before, but it really is make or break for Luke Shaw in it this season.
Yeah, I think we did the thing where I was like, I would sell him just because I don't believe that we're ever going to get a fit full season out of him.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen. And we've all said on his day, one of the best left backs in Europe, phenomenal, ridiculously good. But with the worries we have at left back, like obviously we got an update today. Tyrell Malacia is training; he's on the grass, which is great news. But that's two left backs where you're not sure on their injury status. You're not sure like what's happening.
They could drop again like flies, couldn't they? Like that.
Exactly. And you're just like, well, what happens then? Like you're relying on Harry Amas then as your starting left back, which is a lot of pressure for the kids. So I think, I like him a lot, and hopefully he can contribute to England tonight. Like, I don't think he'll start. I think he should, but I don't think he will.
He won't. He won't.
So I think he needs to sort of look at his career and look at. Obviously, we did some changes, didn't we? To the two physios or two medical staff left, didn't they? Last week, which is hopefully them Ineos looking at the medical department and go, right, there's a bunch of shit not right here, and tearing it up and bringing in people who know what they're doing. So hopefully that helps the likes of like the injuries that we've had this season. And Shaw, we don't have to rely on him so much, because it seemed like every time he got slightly fit, we'd start him and then he'd go down with an injury. We'd have to take him off and then he'd be out for a couple more weeks and then he'd have a setback, and it just would carry on and on and on. So hopefully we can change that sort of circle that we seems to be going around. But I think he needs to sort of, because he was saying it's a bit my fault, a bit of medical fault as well, because he was declaring himself fit when he wasn't. So I think he needs to also say, look, I'm not fit. And there's got to be some changes, because I just don't think we can carry on. We cannot have a season next season and he only plays 12 games. Can't do it. Like, it's just not.
I think you have to have a real mental resilience, don't you, when you have injuries like that, to have so many setbacks. I think he's had 3 or 4 setbacks coming back. And you're constantly in rehab. You just want to get on the pitch, and you're just doing like the boring muscle exercises to work the knee, get it right, and then come back. I hope he has his moment tonight. I hope he gets on, contributes, and obviously we win the Euros. I think we all hope that. And I hope he takes that confidence into the new season, and I hope he does stay fit, because I think genuinely he's one of the best left backs in the world.
Yes.
But that's why it's just devastating, because if he can't and he's riddled with and he starts the season again, I just can't see it going any other way than him even moving.
How long do you continue with that as well? Like, as United, like, how long do you just say, when Shaw's back, it's like, but when is he going to be back? Like, you can't just keep doing this every season. Like, it's just not.
Did it with Varane.
Yeah.
First time seeing it with Varane, back for 2 weeks, amazing. Imagine if he could just stay fit now and stay in the team alongside Lissandro. And Lissandro is own, like, when Lissandro gets back, we'll be better. And it's like, so you're going to say that for 6 months every season? It's not. You can't do it. Can't do it.
Like, you're seeing it with City now. Like, De Bruyne is getting more and more injuries, and you're starting to see now. And it would surprise you if City moved on from him quite soon. If not this summer, maybe next summer, because they're starting to realize this guy can't stay fit, because he's missing 6 months of each season. Even though he's phenomenally good when he's fit, he's ridiculous, but he just can't stay fit. And I just think you can't. If you're going to win titles, you're going to win trophies, you can't rely on players who just can't stay fit.
And what you have to think about as well is, when you remove a player like that out of the team, let's just stay on De Bruyne for a moment, what percentage are you less likely to win that game? So an important player like Kevin De Bruyne, if he's missing from a game, 10% less, 10%?
Yeah.
You have a couple of players like that, you take away your percentages significantly, 30% of a game. And in the Premier League, if you drop slightly below par, you can get beat by any team in the league. I remember Ragnick saying that.
We got beat by so many teams, like Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, and fair enough, decent teams, but we should not. But the team we have, we should not be getting beat by them.
No.
But because of the injuries and stuff like that, the team's all disjointed and out of it, and it fucks you completely. You saw with City, they lost Rodri, and they didn't win for 3 games that he was there. Like, that's how important like these players are, and Shaw's one of those players for us. And if you can't be fit, like, you have to move on, I think.
Well, like you said, Malacia is back in training, so that's positive news. If he could stay fit, I think he's got potential. He's looked good. Look, he's got some things to work on, no doubt about that. But I think he's shown bits where it's like, okay, there's something to work with there. So hopefully he can stay fit. We have also been linked with another left back, Sam, in Ferdi Kadioglu, I think it is, from
Yes.
Fenerbahce. Apparently, we've made an offer for £21 million, but Fenerbahce are insisting on £30 million. United could offer unwanted players to the Turkish side as part of the deal, because obviously they've got interest in McTominay, Lindelof, and there's a couple others in there as well. But the fucking audacity of these Turkish clubs to reject an offer like that, and then to offer fucking pennies for our players, like was it €10 million for Wan-Bissaka? And all this, it's absolute bullshit. That,
is it Wan-Bissaka and McTominay 10, 15
yeah,
million?
for 20 million, I think it was.
Yeah,
no, you're right. It's €15 million for McTominay and Wan-Bissaka. You're like, what market are you shopping in, mate? Yeah, again, I don't know if you saw much of him at the Euros, but is that the type of signing you'd think Ineos will be looking at? 20 to 30 kind of range.
He's versatile because he can play centre back and left back, so he can do both, which is good for us, because we saw when Shaw played centre back, he was phenomenal. I thought he was really good for us. So a utility type player who can play both sides, I think, would be great. I didn't see much of him. I saw a couple of bits with Turkey and stuff. Looked all right, but obviously I don't watch the Turkish league, so I don't really know much about him. But they're playing Dortmund's game, aren't they? Dortmund sell for like fucking hundreds of millions, and then when they go for players, they're like, "Oh, we're not really got any money." Like
we've
10
not got anything.
Like
the fucking
bullshit, mate. Yeah, like get fucked. So if you want to play that game, move on. Go find somebody else, because you can't be paying over the odds for a guy like this who's, yes, he's had a decent tournament with Turkey, and yeah, he seems to be decent in the Turkish league, but this is not a world-class player we're talking about. This is not the next big thing. Like, this is a decent signing.
Turkish league, Premier League.
Like, come on, you need to be realistic. But if we can negotiate and get it down, cool, let's look into it. But if they're just going to be Everton, like, stubbornness and be like, no, this is how much you're paying, then just move on. Like, go to somebody else, because I just don't think it's worth negotiating for players like that.
I think that left-back spot's interesting, because it doesn't... Whoever plays there affects players ahead of him, players in midfield, everyone around him.
Rashford.
And I was just about to get on to Marcus Rashford needs a left back willing to underlap, and it opens up space for him to kind of operate. That's why I'm so concerned, because that full side just goes null and void, doesn't it? When we don't have that, it's just dead. It's like England. You've seen it with Trippier and Foden in the first couple of games in the group stage. Both of them just kept cutting in and cutting in and cutting. He offers no natural width whatsoever. So if it means bringing someone in like that who can at least offer it, if we're having injury struggles, I'm all for it. I think I just don't know where they're going to get the money from. To be honest, I think it'll be one at the end of the window. Have they got the budget to spend that? You'd have to.
Because Lindelof is a possibility that goes in it, so you may be looking at 10 million for him, if that. You've just got €10 million from Kamwala, so there's some money there, and then Greenwood is all but done. I know there's a bit thing about the Marseille mayor and what have you, but that'll be 30 million.
So he probably made, what, 50 million from sales at the minute?
Yeah, I imagine Pellistri goes. I don't know whether that'll be a loan or a sale. But I imagine
Donny's wages and Varane's wages
gone.
And Martial.
Martial's wages are gone. So we should have a bit of sort of dough laying around. But I think they're trying to sort the Delict deal. I think that's the next one.
Yeah.
And then maybe after that, it'll be a midfielder and a left back they start looking at. They'll be the two positions they start addressing, because I think they're the next two positions you need to look at. The Tony thing is weird. That's a weird thing, but we spoke about that yesterday. I don't understand why we're after that. But yeah, left back and midfield after the Delict deal. Obviously, Yoro might take a couple of weeks because he has to decide between the two, so that might take a while. But yeah, I think after the Delict, you'd probably look at a midfield and a left back. They'll probably be the next one.
Right, let's go to the comment section then. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe. We're on 5,935 subs currently at the minute. We're trying to hit 6K within the next couple of weeks. That'd be great. Or within the next week, should I say. Anonymous Mango saying, Kobbie Mainoo will end Rodri's unbeaten run once again. England 3-1, Saka, Kane and Mainoo to score. Steph saying, big up Nick and Sam. Thank you very much, Steph. Appreciate you as always. Arsenal fans would say the same for Saka and Rice, Liverpool for Trent, City for Foden, etc., etc. Of course, we've got to back our own players as well. Yeah. That's what we're here for. Shaw, Palmer and Watkins off the bench will contribute massive flair, especially against an aging Spanish defence. I think that's interesting with that's the one thing we've got in Spain, I think,
Yes.
the bench. Because they look to their bench. It's not like they've got world beaters on there.
No,
We have proper talent on ours.
They bring on the same subs normally as well, don't they? They bring in, is it Oyazabal?
Yeah, Oyazabal, yeah.
As well. They bring on Jesus Navas occasionally.
Ferran Torres is another one as well.
Yeah, that's normally who they bring on. So not great depth, I would say. Whereas we've got, like Anonymous Mango says, we've got some world beaters. Got Shaw, got Palmer, got Watkins, Eze's tricky and stuff like that. You've got some players on the bench who can cause some problems, especially in the last 10, 15 minutes. Like, you've got some problem.
Even Anthony Gordon had a phenomenal season with Newcastle. Like, that's one who can cause damage pace against, like you said, a tired
Tony.
Yeah, Ivan Toney, I've not even mentioned. Yeah, ridiculous bench. And we might just need that because we have done in the past couple of games. Steph saying Foden, Jude and Kane need to show up tonight. They all do, to be fair. Unrelated, but hopefully Malacia, Mount and Sancho are like the new signings of the season. We're going to discuss pre-season next, so make sure you stick around. Brian saying Mainoo will win the Ballon d'Or will be on the Ballon d'Or shortlist next year. You heard it here first. Again, would not surprise me. If you win the Euros, win an FA Cup and perform how he's doing, you've got to be knocking on that door for sure. I've read reports Juve are in for him for 40 mil. Who's that? Sancho, is it?
Possibly, I imagine.
Yeah. Slightly off topic, but what do you both make of Eminem's new album? Personally, his best album in years, and it's getting better and better the more I listen to it. I love it, Brian. I love it. I think there's some hard-hitting ones in there. I think some stuff that sounds like his original kind of stuff. Again, I know this is a football channel, so I won't spend too long on it, but I'm a big fan. Yeah, I think it's some of his best work in a long, long time. And I kind of knew that with his hit single Houdini, but yeah. Sam, have you listened to it?
I've got 5 songs in. I've not done, because I know you have to listen to it one after the other, don't you? Because it's concept album. Yeah. So I wanted to do it properly.
Oh,
so I've done 5 songs. Really like it. To be honest, I think Eminem could release anything at this point, and I'd be listening to it. Like, he
could fart in a fucking microphone.
I think he's arguably, if not in the top 3, number 1 of the best rappers of all time. I think he's highly untouchable in terms of like his work, his body of work, and his consistency, and the way he puts stuff together. So yeah, I can't wait to listen to the rest of it. But it's the one artist I haven't seen live. I would die to see. He's the only one left. I've seen everybody else that I wanted to see. He's the only one left. I've seen Slipknot, Metallica, all my favorite bands I've seen. This is the one guy left I haven't seen. So please do a tour, do something that I can go watch so I can see you live. That would be amazing.
I'm going Leeds at the end of August. I was kind of praying because he's been at Leeds before. I was like, he's releasing an album, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't like it's happening. But yeah, fingers crossed. There's one song on that album called Temporary, and this is a genuinely true story. I went to get coffee this morning, went to Halford to sort my girlfriend's car out, and on the way back, both of us in tears in the car listening to it. So when you listen to that song, I swear down, it's like Mockingbird Part 2. It hits you right in the nut. One of my favourite songs on that album. That's
the thing about Eminem. Like, he can stray into some of the funniest shit you've ever seen in your life. And will have you pissing yourself going, oh my God, this is hilarious, to songs that'll rip your heart out and stomp on it and make you feel like some of the worst emotions you've ever felt. He can just scale the both of the things. And that's a sign of a great artist. If you can make people laugh and cry in the same thing. Like,
I think it's making people emote in general. That's like a really big. Tupac was fantastic at that. Yeah. And like you said, you go from Eminem with Fact, where he talks about putting a gerbil up his ass, to like Beautiful, where he's talking about suicide and shit. It's just like...
And he's talking about shaking that ass and big booty girls. And then he's talking about how he's wanted to kidnap his baby's mum at the time and stuck her in a trunk. And like this dude's out off his fucking mind, but some of the best music ever.
Absolutely. And hopefully it does go on tour. Now, speaking of tour, United are going on a pre-season tour starting on Monday, the 15th of July. Rosenborg versus Manchester United. That's at 12 p.m. in the Lerkendal Stadion in Norway. On Saturday, the 20th, we've got Rangers. That's 11 a.m. at the Edinburgh Stadium. I think we played there last year. Saturday, 27th July, Arsenal versus United at 8 p.m. at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Wednesday the 31st, we've got Real Betis at 10 p.m. at the Snapdragon Stadium. And then August the 3rd, we've got United versus Liverpool in South Carolina. And then, of course, Sam, we have 3 o'clock kickoff against Man City in the FA Cup, FA Community Shield, sorry. And then we kick off the season against Fulham. We're actually the first game out in the Premier League at 8 o'clock on Friday night. Look, pre-season's not mega exciting, but you look at the players that are currently in training at the minute. You've got Mount, Rashford, Ahmad, Sancho, Antony, a couple others who I'm probably forgetting. What's your expectations for them this season?
I would like to see a lot of youth this preseason. I would like to see what they've got. That is what I look forward to in preseason, is like young players getting an opportunities and seeing what they're about. So Harry Amash, Shea Lacey. I know, unfortunately, Dan Gore's separated shoulder, so he's not going to be there, which sucks because I thought he might be there. Ethan Wheatley's just signed a new deal, so that'll be good. Toby Collier has just signed a new deal. So guys like that, I think, hopefully get an opportunity, especially against Rosenborg, because I don't think we'll have a lot of players available. Maybe we'll see Mount and Rashford because they've not had any international stuff, so maybe we'll see that. Young players this preseason, let me see it. Let me see what they've got. Let's see if they can be integrated into the team this season, or if they need a bit of loan seasoning. And then later on in the preseason, let's get De Ligt in, Xerxes done, Duarte, whoever, and let's get them integrated into the team nice and quick, nice and early, and get so Ten Hag can work with him, work out what his system is, how he's going to play, and then hopefully be ready by the time Fulham rocks around on the Friday. Community Shield would be good. Obviously, it's a glorified friendly, but you want to beat City regardless of when it is.
Yeah.
Like, it could be
we won't be saying that if we beat City.
No. It's a pre-season, but we've seen it before. Like when City play Liverpool and Liverpool beat City, and you're like, oh, maybe this is their year. And then they had that Van Dijk injury, didn't they? And they fell off completely. So Community Shield doesn't mean much in the aspect of things, but obviously you want to beat City anytime that you play them. So I'm really looking forward to preseason in terms of the youth and stuff like that. And obviously transfers, new signings being integrated. That's what I'm looking forward to. And then hopefully this time round, we should be fully ready to go by Fulham, because the amount of preseason we've done where we've still not got all our transfers done by the time the new season starts. And we're still like, oh, when this guy comes in, and then it takes him weeks, months to get integrated. By the time you know that it's October, November, and you're already 10 points out, and you're just like, it's another fucking struggle this season. So let's get everything, all our ducks in a row, nice and easy, nice and quick, and get the team ready. So when Fulham comes around, we know who our squad is, we know who our signings are, and we're going to hit the road. Hopefully that's how it goes. Obviously there's going to be issues, there always is, but I'm glad the tour this time is not ridiculous, because the preseason tour last summer was insane. Fucking insane, that. So I'm glad they've stripped it down to like big gaps between dates and not multiple games here, there, and everywhere.
I think it's important they set a tone as well, because you look at last year, the first game against Wolves had us worried straight away, didn't it? We was looking at midfield, and then the game against Spurs, we was like, fucking hell, what's going on here? So you need to set your stall out, you need to set your tone, get a few wins in the bag, have a nice disciplined style of play, dominate teams if you can. And we've got quite a favourable run. I can't remember the first 5 fixtures, but I remember when it was released, obviously we've got Fulham first at Old Trafford. Yeah, if you can. But from what I can remember, it's pretty favourable, and we don't really have any congested games against the top teams until December. I think maybe we play Arsenal, Liverpool and City in December / January.
16th of August, Fulham. 24th of August, Brighton away. 1st of September, Liverpool at home. So that's a big game. Southampton away, 14th of September. Crystal Palace away, 21st. And then Spurs on the 29th of September. So Liverpool and Spurs are the 2 games you look at and you think that's the big games. Fulham, we normally got favourable stuff against. Normally we're quite good against Fulham.
Brighton away. Get beat by Old Trafford, didn't we, last season?
Brighton away is always an arse end. Like, I hate
But we beat them towards the end of the season. So
Crystal Palace was one of the worst performances of the season last season. So we need to write that. We need to write that. And then Spurs at home. Normally that's quite favourable to us. I know we have been beat by them before, but normally it's not too bad of a game. So it's pretty good. First sort of 6 games of the season. Like, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at players like Casemiro, Mount. even players like Ahmad, they've all got huge seasons in front of them for many different reasons. I think Mount again is another one. It's like in the Shaw category almost. If you can stay fit, you could probably play a huge role and be important in certain areas. And players surprise you sometimes.
Yep.
People like they are new signings effectively because they barely played any football. Casemiro is another one where is he going to be the same Casemiro this season? What are your expectations of that? Do you think?
I think he's going to be sold. I don't think he'll
think
be
Sauder?
here. Yeah, I don't think he'll be here next season.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't see it. I think he'll end up staying.
Possible.
No inkling, not read anything.
No, I've not even.
I just feel he's going to stay because I think, well, if you sell him, and let's say you get Uarte in, is he going to be your only midfielder?
No, you have to get two, don't you? You have to get two.
You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
I think I said in the chat, this is how I'd do it: sell Casemiro, get his wages off the books because it's ridiculous. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
Uarte in on loan with an obligation to buy, so then you don't have to worry about an outlay. Rabiot on a free, and then Amrabat for 13 million. You got three midfielders in there, and you've got Casemiro's wages off the books. I think that's a really good fucking window there. Three midfielders in for under 13 million, and you've got Casemiro's wages off your books. I'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. Right, I'm going to go to the comments. Nick is quickly becoming the king of segues. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciated that. I will take that all day because to go from M&M to back to pre-season, I'll take that. I was glad you appreciate that. James, hello. You're saying hello in the chat. Welcome to the community. Please do hit that subscribe button if you are new. Lovely to get more members in there. Brian saying, have you heard anything about an extra pre-season game being played? Saw rumours online yesterday that they could be coming to Dublin again. Probably too late at this stage, though. I haven't seen anything personally. Like Sam said, then the last one was really congested, so I'd be surprised if they threw a couple of extra ones in there. Also, I don't think they would do it just because, like Sam alluded to.
Maybe be like a behind closed doors for like fringe or injury players and stuff. Maybe something like that.
I'd be interested to see when the main players come back. At what point do you bring Bruno and Dalot and all these kind of guys back in, and Hoyland, etc. Lissandro.
Xerxes on holiday as well, isn't he? So.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Get Delit and Uarte soon. Can't wait to see them in this team. I think early next week after the Euros finish and the Copa America finishes as well. That's when I think you'll start seeing traction pick up.
I saw a report saying they wanted to get the Delit deal done this weekend, but there was a couple of things over payment structure, so it should be early next week.
Yeah. Basically, they're going to get him like they did with Xerxes on Klarna again and spread out the payments over like 5 years. What about Amrabat? Yeah, Amrabat, I think Romano said that's going to be announced. Well, they're going to be in talks with him next week or deal with that situation next week. So that's another one that's kind of on the back burner at the minute. But I think you can do a lot worse than bring Amrabat in as like a bench option or a secondary player. That's just logical to me.
Depth.
I don't get why it wouldn't.
Squad depth for 13 million, Rabiot on a free, and then Uarte. I think that's smart. Really, really smart.
Really, when you look at that performance, Sam, in the FA Cup final and what he did, how can you not look at that and go, as a bench option?
The previous 3 games as well, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was great against Arsenal, and I thought he was really, really good. We saw the player that we thought we were getting when we originally bought him, and obviously there's stuff before he didn't have pre-season, which obviously doesn't help anybody. He was injured for a lot of it and stuff like that. He was playing out of position in left back and that obvious. So I think a lot of stuff and a lot of people wrote him off. But those last 4 games, I think he was excellent. Paul Scholes was calling him Prime Gattuso. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like this, I think he's got something. I think 30 million for squad depth. Take a punt.
13 million. It's pennies in it in today's game. 13 million quid. I don't get why they'd wait on the decision. I'd just make it, get him in, because that's something else United fans would be happy about. I think the majority, from people that I've spoken to, a lot of them are like, yeah, I'd absolutely take Amrabat on for 13 million quid. Bring him in as a permanent signing. You don't have to give him a mega deal. I doubt he's on, fucking mega wages. So, absolutely.
James, can I have a shout out? My channel name is Manchester is Red. Yeah, everybody go have a look at James's channel. Also, Brian Casey started his own YouTube, by the way, his own YouTube channel. Brian, I don't know if you've got access to links in here, but drop a link to your in there. If not, I can do it. Everybody go subscribe to Brian's YouTube as well, because he's just started it and he's been a loyal member for us and a loyal sort of supporter of us. So everybody go support him as well. So Brian, drop a link in the thing, or I can get your channel up and I'll drop a link if you can't.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about everyone starts from somewhere at one point. We started this channel, God knows, what was it, 2.5 years ago or something like that? I think it was. And started fucking no viewers, no subscribers, nothing. Obviously, we're close to 6,000 at the moment, and we've had some amazing people on. So yeah, it's and that's thanks to you guys who tune in consistently. All the members, legends like Brian, Richard, people in the chat, even the lads on the channel have been fantastic. So I appreciate the support and community as always. 2.5 years ago on Insta, I do remember that. Shreyas, yeah, I definitely do remember that one. I've just seen something then. Someone's put something in. Please tell something about Delit, the sniperman is asking. Well, the latest update we've had is from a journalist, me and Sam was discussing this before we went live, who we hadn't really seen much before. And he's saying the Uarte deal and the Delit deal early next week. It looks like there's going to be some traction on that. I think they're just sorting out payments and how they're going to spread them payments over the next 4 or 5 years. I think it is. So, yeah. I think we can leave it at that, Sam. Yeah. 40 minutes bang on. Yeah. Nice. Of course, huge game for England tonight. I hope we win. I can't promise anything, but if we do win, I may go on live with a whisker talking about, how phenomenal Kobbie Mainoo is.
If we win, me and Nick will be here. Like, I think we'll do.
Yeah. If we lose, I don't think I can guarantee the same thing. Yeah.
James, stop talking bad about your own channel. Back your channel, mate. Like, it's not that good. Like, don't say that. Mate. Like, go and James. Let me look your channel up. What's it called?
Mate, go and watch our first video
we
ever did.
It's fucking terrible.
It's so bad. It's me basically reading off like a transcript on a fucking glitchy green screen. Like Tyrell Malacia, I think he can do this and that. Everyone has to start somewhere. Do you know what I mean? You have to start somewhere, and you build your way up, and you have confidence, and you become fluid talking to a camera. That's how it works. So yeah, yeah.
Is it Manchester is red, James? Just tell me what it is, and I'll put it in the chat. Oh, Tommy has joined the Real Reds Ultras.
All right, I'm just.
It's all right. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you joining the Real Reds Ultras, mate. Free content, not free content. Content exclusive to you guys that you get for £3 a month, like less than a meal deal at this point. We're going to film some more content this week as well because we need to get some more. We're going to do another After Dark because people seem to like that. More player profile stuff, more stuff from Nick about transfers and possible players coming in, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, welcome, Tommy. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, we try to get as much content out there as possible. It's hard because obviously me and Sam work full time. It's difficult to try finding, especially over the weekend and stuff. We're busy, so we're trying to find time to put some more members' videos up. But we promise we will get some out there. So, yeah, right. We're going to leave it at that. Thank you for the emojis. Thank you for becoming members. You're all a bunch of legends. Smash a like on the video. Hit subscribe to the channel. And me and Sam will see you guys maybe tonight. Let's see what happens. Yeah.